Hey everyone, welcome back to the American Justice Podcast, Q&A edition for episode 18. Scott, how's it going?
Wow, 18. Can you believe we're at 18 already?
Yes, our podcast is now legal. It can't buy alcohol, but it can vote and die for its country.
And it can smoke them if you got them.
It can. No, wait, didn't they raise that to 21 as well?
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah. So, nope, podcast can't smoke.
Well, I don't smoke, and it's been a long time since I was 18, so I wouldn't know.
I barely remember it myself, to be honest.
I think I was 18 in like 1721 or something.
I was 18 in like 1991 is when I turned 18. Tail end of 1991.
Well, I refuse to give my age, so I was 18 in like we'll say it was the 1900.
How's life going, man? It's been a crazy week.
It has been a crazy week, man. Life is just, I mean, I think every week I say I'm just busy doing this and that, and it never ceases to amaze me that when it comes around time to tape these things, that it's like I'm sitting here thinking, has it really been a week?
Yeah. So it was a weekend. It was one of those all about me being a writer weekend.
Yeah.
Well, I started out on Friday. I had one of those damn chemical stress tests where they give you a shot of this crap and it kind of makes your heart pretty much simulate a heart attack to see if you have any blockage.
Nice.
And yeah, that was horrible. Don't ever want to do that again. No blockage though. We're good there.
Did it hurt or just make your heart race?
It made my heart race like faster than I ever recall it racing before. And that includes like running 10Ks and stuff like that. I don't remember my heart ever being that crazy before. It was scary.
Damn, that doesn't even sound like fun.
No, it doesn't. It kind of the rest of your body, your nose, your breathing, your everything, it almost feels like you're drowning. Everything on you is burning, and it's just the world's worst panic attack.
How long does it last?
It lasts for 5 minutes. And the cure to make all the side effects go away, they said, is to drink caffeine and eat something real fatty. Things you're not supposed to do with a cardiologist present, right. and that's what gets rid of the side effects.
I just can't imagine my cardiologist saying, "Be sure and drink your caffeine and eat those fatty foods."
Yeah, he said go, because that was the second part of the test. I still had a third test that was after the meal. He's like, go downstairs, drink the strongest coffee you can find, and eat something real fatty.
Can I get a triple espresso?
I mean, I couldn't believe it, but no, I don't recommend it. I mean, you can do it you can do the same thing on a treadmill. You know, as long as you got good legs, good knees, good back, whatever, you can do the same thing on a treadmill. But because of COVID-19, they weren't letting people use the treadmill. It's all chemically induced. I've spoken to several people that have had this procedure done since Friday, and they basically all called it a chemically induced heart attack. So I don't recommend it, but
so not your favorite thing to do on a Friday afternoon.
No, not at all. But KillerCon 2020 went on virtually on Zoom.
Yes.
This weekend. We normally do that in Austin every year. All the indie horror authors get together in Austin and swap books, swap stories, and
maybe next year
drink until we pass out. Except for me, because I don't drink anymore. But we did it all virtually. And an anthology novel that I've been a part of since last year called And Hell Followed won the 2020 Splatterpunk Anthology of the Year Award.
Woohoo!
So I'm going to put that award winning at the end of author now.
Nice.
Pretty happy about that.
Does that mean that here at the American Justice Podcast that I have to give you a raise?
No.
Okay, good. Then I'm glad you won.
No, there were 16 of us. There were 16 of us that contributed stories to this book. So I am 1/16 of an award-winning author.
No, you are 100% of an award-winning author, but you're 1/16 of a collaborative team that is absolutely amazing.
I wonder if we're all going to take turns with it like they do with the Stanley Cup.
I'm an award-winning author this week.
Yes, this week it's me. And then finished up the final draft for my next novel, Starving Zoe.
Yes.
Turned it in on Sunday night. It's out of my hands now. The artist who is doing covers for all these splatter westerns. Justin T. Coons is his name. Great artist. Shout out. He called me up yesterday and wanted to know if I had any ideas for this cover, and I was like, look, man, you're the artist. You didn't tell me how to write the book. I'm not going to tell you how to do the cover. So,
what if he would have said, "Well, I really would revise chapter 3," and
I revised it myself. I removed 400 unnecessary curse words.
Is there such thing as an unnecessary curse
Sure,
word?
there is.
I mean,
400 of them.
Wow. How many did that leave?
There's still quite a bit in there.
Wow. Was that one of the suggestions from the publisher,
No, that was
or was
just,
that just something you decided?
That was just something I decided.
Nice.
I mean, a lot of writers throw in, profanity or whatever just for the shock value, and
Right.
I want the story itself to be shocking, not necessarily things like that.
A lot of comedians do the same thing.
Yeah, they do.
It's just,
Yeah.
I think the comedians that are not blue, the ones that are clean, when they're funny, they're a lot funnier.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that that the stuff they're saying is funny. It's not like they're just trying to throw out shock value and everybody's kind of reacting to that. It's like the things that they're talking about, the situations that they're in, are funny.
Yeah, we also had a lot of instances where phrases and words, we had to go back and do a lot of research to see if they were things that somebody would say in 1865. And had to remove and change a lot of those. But surprisingly, a lot of them have been around for a very long time. So question number 1 comes from Jerry in Grand Prairie. Hey, we're being poetic today on the American Justice Podcast.
Jerry from Grand Prairie.
Jerry from Grand Prairie says, Collins told Ruley that he didn't want speculation. When did he decide to change tactics? Hasn't that been his plan since the beginning of the investigation?
Well, I think that's a really good point. And he does say, and you're right, he says that, like, I'm not looking for speculation, but if you have something that you, but if you have some speculation that you want to tell me. I mean, pretty much everything in this investigation was speculation. Nobody came forward. I even went back and rewatched all of the interviews up until this point. And not one time did anybody have anything to say about the actual murders. And it's difficult because there was, by all accounts, nobody there. The only person that was there, or the only people that were there, would be the ones that killed Dennis and Norma. So, of course, nobody's going to have anything, unless somebody just happened to be driving by. And they're like, yeah, I was driving by at, like 2 o'clock in the morning. I saw a white van out there, something like that. But nobody had any of that information to give. So yeah, everything that they're talking about, everything that they're investigating at this point is just speculation and just wanting to know more bad stuff about Brandon. That's all they wanted to know. That's all that anybody could give. There was nothing else to give.
Right. I mean,
All right, boy, I don't want to hear no more speculation. My speculation budget is maxed out.
Now, do you have any more of that speculation?
And some beef jerky.
Some beef jerky.
and some mustard and biscuits.
Gotta feed my belt buckle.
Wow.
So I hope that answers your question, Jerry from Grand Prairie.
From Grand Prairie. Thank you very much for your question. It's nice that you're paying attention because I caught that as well.
I don't want this more speculation.
Okay, question number 2.
Then why are we there?
Yeah. Question number 2 comes from Beth in North Richland Hills, Texas.
Oh, that doesn't rhyme.
No, it does not. But North Richland Hills is kind of a up there neighborhood, isn't it? I mean, we're moving on up. All right, question number 2, Beth in North Richland Hills. Ruley hired an attorney after hearing about the murder on the news? ? Just because he knew the person they were accusing? I'm not buying it. I believe he obviously knew something. People hire attorneys when they get accused of something they didn't do or already know they're guilty. No one had accused him of anything. So, ...
That's a very powerful ellipses.
Yes.
Well, first of all, he didn't actually hire an attorney, and he didn't come into the interview with an attorney or anything like that. He basically had a friend that was an attorney and just consulted him and said, hey, I was with this guy the night that his parents were killed, and he was now arrested because he didn't talk to the attorney or anything until Brandon was arrested. You know, he was still texting back and forth with Brandon when he found out that his parents were killed. They were still talking, you know, I miss you. We need to come hang out sometime. We need, like, they were still friends and all of this stuff. No, there was absolutely no indication that Brandon was going to be arrested until he was actually arrested. So once he was arrested, then I think Alex kind of started freaking out. You know, he started wondering, like, I was with this guy. Is this going to be a problem for me? Are they going to come now look at me? I mean, I can understand that. If I was, you know, let's say Chad left this podcast and then he went and murdered somebody. And then they came back to me and said, well, wait a second, you were with Chad the night that he killed you know, I'd be wondering what an attorney would want me to do as well, you know. So I think I don't fault Alex for that. I think that it's, you know, I think I said in the podcast, there's an old saying that if you're guilty, you need an attorney, but if you're innocent, you really need an attorney.
You need two attorneys.
Yeah. So exactly. So the thing that
Not the ones from Texarkana.
Not the ones that Brandon had. You do not need those attorneys. But you know, that's one of those things that if it's even possible that there was some kind of inference that there might be made because you were with this person, I can understand him consulting an attorney. So I don't fault him for that at all. As far as if he actually knew something, I find that hard to believe since Brandon didn't even know anything. You know what I mean? Like, what could Alex have known? Because as far as anybody knew, no, Brandon didn't do it. As far as his friends knew, anyways. And you ask the shit kickers, of course, they're going to have a different opinion. But as far as Brandon's actual friends knew, everybody knew that he didn't do this. Everybody that I talked to, even today, that was friends with Brandon back then, still to this day maintains his innocence. There's not one person that has, quote, jumped the fence. The only people that feel like Brandon was guilty were the family, the shit kickers, Norma Etherington, all those people that just happened to, well, the family, I mean Charla and a few select aunts. But they were basically just believing what the police was saying. The police were saying, we have evidence. And the family would be like, well, what's the evidence? Oh, well, we can't tell you that because there's an ongoing investigation. You know, it's like, okay, well, I mean, if you have evidence, for example, let's say you had the murder weapon with Brandon's fingerprints in his truck with DNA all over his truck, like, you wouldn't have to hide that. It's not. Nothing's going to change, right? There's not going to be a point where all of a sudden this information is not being able to be used. The whole world's going to know about it eventually. So if they had concrete information or evidence that showed that he was guilty, obviously he would have told them. So the fact that, or told them, but the fact that they didn't, and the fact that they just kind of kept telling them, well, you just have to trust us as an ongoing investigation. Unfortunately for, you know, Charla and all them, it was enough. Of course, the question always comes up, was it enough? Because they already knew who actually did it.
All right. Beth, North
Richland Hills?
North Richland Hills. North Richland Hills.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you for your question. Keep listening.
Really good question.
All right. We're going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsor, and we will be right back.
Central Vapors is the premier online vape store that you've been looking for. If you are currently buying e-juice for e-cigs, you are more than likely spending way too much. You can save money by buying in bulk. No, we're not talking Sam's Club buy it by the gallon bulk. We're talking flavored e-juice in 120, 250, or 500 milliliter bottles. Think about it this way. 8 bottles of 30 milliliter e-juice would cost you anywhere from $100 to over $250. But at Central Vapors, a 250 milliliter bottle is only $28.95. And if you use the code AJARMY, you'll save 50% off your first 3 orders of bulk e-juice. Central Vapors is one of the largest independent retailers of e-cig supplies in the country. They provide all your vaping needs, from e-juice to DIY supplies to pens and custom e-cigs. They even have CBD oil as well. With $2.99 shipping on all orders under $50 and free shipping over $50, you will not be disappointed. Customer satisfaction is always guaranteed. Head on over to centralvapors.com/AJArmy to claim your 50% discount on your first 3 orders of bulk e-juice today. You won't find a deal like that anywhere. Again, that's centralvapors.com/AJArmy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the American Justice Podcast Q&A edition for episode 18.
18.
All right, we're going to go. This actually isn't a question. This is just a comment, but I included it. I'm starting to do that more and
We
more.
have a lot of people that just make comments.
They make comments, and I'm not going to, say they can't say what's on their mind. Sometimes I think it's funny.
A lot of times it's funny.
Oh, comment. Okay, here we go. This comment comes from Susan in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Susan from Lincoln.
I'm not going to say anything about Lincoln, Nebraska. Just look at my face. It's something. Susan says, the world's most horrible conversation starter. I see you have a pocket knife. Does Brandon carry a knife? LOL. I'd hate to hear what Ranger Collins thinks is a pickup line. I see that you have feet. Do you like my feet?
Nice pocket knife you got there, boy.
That's a wonderful belt buckle you got there.
Well, Eric Gentry, oh God. I'm not sure that we gave Eric Gentry enough credit or enough attention in this episode, because there's a lot that Eric Gentry has to say. And we'll cover more of it when we get to trial, because he does testify. But just, I have a lot to say about Eric. We'll keep that for the other episode. He's one of those people that was loyal to Brandon until the police lied to him. And when the police lied to him, that changed everything, and he totally changed. So, it happens.
Obviously it did.
Obviously it did.
Susan from Lincoln, Nebraska. Thank you for your comment. Yes, that is rather... I'd hate to know what Collins thinks is a pickup line.
I would definitely hate to know that.
So you breathe air, I breathe air too.
Are those new shoes? Because you've been running through my mind all night long.
Tell me something, Angel. Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Okay, anyways.
You want to go out for pizza and sex? What, you don't like pizza?
Is that after they slap you across the face? All right, so we have a question.
Yes, we do have a question. This comes from Alan in Dallas, which almost rhymes, but not quite.
No, not quite.
Trying to follow the timeline in the episode is difficult because everyone seemed to have a different time. Can you explain what everyone was saying in one summary? That sounds like a challenge, Scott.
That does sound like a challenge. This is one of those cases where the timelines are so all over the place that, yes, it's very difficult to follow. And I apologize. I tried to do the best I could we tried to do the best we could to kind of keep it all in a neat little box to kind of show what everybody was saying and what they were doing. Especially when you have someone like Robert that's saying, I called at this time and Brandon called me at this time. And then he even brings his phone records, and his phone records don't even agree with what he's saying. So, yes, I can see that it's very difficult to follow. But I think it might be a little bit easier, Chad, if we go to the board.
Let's go to the board.
All right, I think we should go to the board. Here we go. All right, we are at the board. This is the second time I think we've done this, right? This is fun stuff. All right, so let's look at the timeline for when everything actually happened. All right, so let's look. I'm going to do my best to draw Dallas. Okay. So this is 6:35. For the boys and girls, you can look up your maps, do your search on the Google Maps. You can see all this. This is 75. This is George W. Bush Freeway. This is 30, and this is the street that goes down to Brandon's house in Heath, which is right here. I forget what the highway is. But anyways, so what actually happened was Brandon pinged off of a cell tower right there at 10:46 p.m. Okay? p.m. So what that means is that the drive time from that cell tower to Brandon's house in Heath is 19 minutes. Okay. So then that means that Brandon would have had to have left by 10:27 p.m. Okay? Now, he arrived. Here's the Denny's right here. Here's where he picked up Robert. Denny's, right there. Okay. Now, he got over here to Alex's house. We know by the toll records that he arrived at Alex's house at 11:23. Okay? So, in order for him to get from this cell tower in Mesquite over to Denny's, pick up Robert, head all the way up to Alex's house, he would have had to have left Denny's by 10:58 p.m. Because it's a 25-minute drive time up there to Alex's house. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense right there. Now, what people said was, Alex said that he was at his house, so we'll just put Alex, said he was at his house, Brandon was at Alex's house by 10:45 p.m., okay? We know that's not true because he's at this cell tower down here at 10:46. Then, if you look at Robert Martinez's statement, Robert says that Brandon arrived at Denny's at 11:30. Well, we know that's not true because he's pinging, or he goes through the toll booth right by Alex's house at 11:23. So here, he's at least 32 minutes off. Alex is about, what is that, about 45, almost 45 minutes off. So, you know, luckily we have enough toll records, we have enough phone records. Even though the Texas Rangers didn't get all the phone records from that night, we have Robert's calls, we have Alex's calls, we have all of that. So we know, and we have the one that finally pings on that cell tower by Mesquite. So we know that this stuff is what actually happened. It's irrefutable, it's forensically analyzed. This is what actually happened. Robert was 32 minutes off. Alex was over almost 45 minutes off. So the fact that they made such a big deal about Brandon being off by an hour or two on what time that he left to go to Denny's, and it wasn't really even like he was telling them, hey, I left at 8 o'clock or I left at 8:30. It was Ranger Collins telling him, okay, well, would have taken you 30 minutes to do that. So obviously you left at 8:30 or you left at whatever time. And Brandon was just like, he didn't remember. He told him, I don't remember. But then he agreed with them and said, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Not thinking to himself, oh yeah, when I think that I'm, dealing with my animals for 30 minutes, it turns out it's really 2 hours. Plus now we find out from this episode, we also find out that Brandon was freshly showered when he got to Alex's house or when he got to Denny's. So in addition to taking care of the animals, letting them out, letting the parrot out, we also know that he took a shower there at the Heath house as well. So there's a lot of stuff that he did there. When you start to think about it, it makes sense that he actually took 2 hours at the Heath house.
All right, Alan from Dallas. I hope that helped you understand things just a little bit better there. Scott, good work at the board, by the way.
Thank you. Hopefully I synopsized everything so everybody can kind of get the picture of what everybody was saying and what actually happened.
Right, okay. Well, I think that does it for this episode of the American Justice Podcast. Sunday's episode will be the second part, the final part of Ranger Collins' I guess investigative report.
if we want to call it that.
Yeah. So
Where he goes around and checks out everybody else's belt buckles and their pocket knives.
Relives all his college days and plays hacky sack out on the quad,
Yeah, something like that.
spitting tobacco.
Well, there's going to be a really cool part next week when we talk about when Brandon's grandmother confronts Charla about where she was that night.
did she shake her finger when she did it?
I certainly hope so. I was not there, but I hope that she gave her the
I
old
can imagine.
grandma
I can imagine
finger.
that she shook her finger. I love grandmas when they shake their finger.
Exactly.
It's so cool. Okay. All right, everyone. Make sure to listen Sunday for the second part. And that's it.
That's
I
it.
think it was good. So until next time,
Until next time,
stay aware
stay strong.
and get involved.
Yes, you finally got it.
I did it.
Bye, guys.